1. We are rolling.
Catherine Kennedy.
Hello.
Welcome to the Strange Screws podcast. Finally.
I know we said this in our last episode with our previous guest, but you have also been requested on our show like more than a dozen times.
Whoa, what an honor.
Yeah, like, and from all the different shows that you've been playing and just like awards that you've been winning, some of the Bob Dylan stuff. I know Cherise has like been watching you.
You made me cry a couple years
It's true.
ago. Kate had teared up too.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It wasn't this past one, but the one before the Bob Dylan birthday concert. You covered Queen Jane approximately. I think, was it?
That might have been Jess.
No, what was the one you did? You covered one and we were both crying.
Not Make You Feel My Love.
No, it was another one.
She'll think of it.
This is working my memory too.
I'm like, but no, like I remember the way,
because it was a couple Bob birthdays ago, so it's hard to think about who bids on what they get to play, right?
So it was so
it's cutthroat picking this up.
Well, yeah.
Brett Mason, we had him on the show ahead of time, and he was kind of saying, "I'm like, oh my god."
He was like, "I didn't get my pick, and I thought I'd get the pick."
Yeah, one time he didn't get tangled up in blue. He almost rioted. So
I mean, it's kind of his.
It is, yeah. He can kind of. But anyways, what I love about like a good Dylan cover song is like when someone kind of makes it their own, but adds like, you just moved us to emotion, and I just never actually got a chance to tell you that, but it was like one of the really best like Bob Dylan covers I've heard.
Yeah, we talked about it actually quite a few times and on a few different episodes, because I'm not a big fan, but obviously being Cherise's best friend, like she tries to make me listen all the time. What was it?
You're gonna make me lonesome when you go.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
And I just remember being like, wow, like I would listen to the song like if it was just you singing it, because it was a completely different. It didn't feel like it was like not. And I hope I hope that doesn't come off like you didn't sound anything like him, but I just meant like it didn't feel like the typical. Yeah, like it just
Definitely not in my vibe.
It was great. So to have you on the show is really great. Audience, here you go. We're giving you wishes. We're genies now. This is what we do.
Yes.
Give the people what they want.
Grant the wishes.
Bring them along for the ride.
Yes, exactly. So to start things off, tell us a little bit, for people who are not familiar, tell us a little bit about yourself and sort of how you got into playing music.
Well, I'm based out of St. John, and how did I get into playing music? Probably my grandfather. Classic, like, young kid falls in family footsteps. He was a country and western singer, and they had a family band with my dad and all his siblings. And so I grew up kind of playing on the piano, playing some guitar with them. And then when he went into a nursing home, I became friends with the music therapist that works there, and so that led me to go study music therapy, which got me kind of more into songwriting and performing, and yeah, it just hasn't stopped since, I guess.
What were some of the artists you grew up listening to?
So big Beatles fan, huge Norah Jones fan. Those are two staples. Norah Jones was like my idol. I took a lot of inspiration from her, and a lot of like the older jazz and soul artists like Etta James, Ella Fitzgerald.
Ooh, we've had two mentions today of Ella.
Yeah.
And we've not ever, I don't know if we've really had a mention before, maybe year 1 or year 2, but interesting. Yeah. Okay. And so I've got a question then. So did you ever plan to be a musician, or is that just something that through, being at the nursing home and going into music therapy that it just happened?
I think it was always part of like my lifelong dream.
Oh,
like,
great! Yeah,
I was definitely like a songwriter at 8 years old that talked about the sky being blue and the clouds coming out, and just writing whenever I could. But
did you run anything that you wrote by your grandfather at all, or were you nervous, or?
I think I was nervous, and it felt so far from the scope of genre that I wanted to be singing, like old time country and western. Wasn't really my vibe at the time, but I idolized like them getting up on stage. I found that always really cool. So.
And I find it interesting hearing this story now and hearing a lot of your music and seeing you play like shows. I can definitely see that reflection in your music, a bit of the western and the country, and just how you are able to tell stories. I can definitely see that now, knowing the context.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess one of the questions it kind of leads into one of the questions I had is like, in terms of your songwriting, like you're a storyteller. Even like when you're covering someone else's song, it's like you make it your own and you like bring that story to life. Can you tell us a little bit about sort of what inspires you? Like, what inspires your songwriting?
It's usually sad stuff. Stuff
Yeah,
that
you
makes
gotta love
me
a good
feel
sad
stuff.
song, though.
I set myself up for like a challenge a few years ago to write like a funny or like a humorous song, and it's my song Sam. But other than that, it's always usually like something that makes me cry or makes me feel something. But in terms of like my songwriting process, I feel like I'm a words person first before melody comes. So find the story, like you said, story's kind of the biggest thing for me. Where can I connect myself in it, I guess? And then, the music comes from that, but words first kind of person.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
I appreciate that a lot as someone that I think a lot of time, like I feel like a lot of our conversations like over the years, like it's always been like, oh, you know, music first
Yeah.
and like the songwriting comes second.
For sure.
So it's really cool to have, because as someone that's a writer themselves and appreciates, you know, Bob Dylan and that type, like really appreciates good songwriting, it's really cool to have that come first.
And I think from the storytelling perspective, just from, because like I'm always looking around at surroundings and how things are interacting and how people are interacting with what's happening, whether it's watching you play a show at the Five and Dime or watching you at the Imperial Theater or at a festival, like it doesn't seem to matter what it is. You really seem to really entrance the audience there, and they really they feel something, and I like to watch that. And I don't drink or anything at shows, so I'm very like, I watch everything. If someone moves the wrong, I seen it, so I really see how people interact with your music. And I know from my own perspective, it feels like I went to your release show over at I think it was the Rockland. Yeah. And I just, it really feels like it, and it doesn't come from a demanding sense of feeling, but it really feels like you're there and you're present and you are looking at each person and you really bring them along for the ride. And I don't know if maybe that's your sought out intention, but you do it really, really well. And I think, you know, for those who are listening, if you haven't been out to see a show, or you haven't, or if you're not following, or if you haven't listened, I mean, jump on now, because it's very, it is entrancing. And I hope that doesn't sound cheesy or like a bit douchey to say, because I do mean it. Watching you play that song, like it really did move me, and it wasn't because I was super obsessed with Dylan or I thought it was it was because of the way that you did it and the way that you were doing it amongst other fans of that music, and just seeing how passionate you were about it.
It's pretty rare to find, and it's not just in general, like for me personally in my taste in music, to find like a performer and a songwriter that just like arrests you in a way, like you kind of, so you do that. So anyways, we're just fangirling right now.
Yeah, sorry, but
no, it's really nice to hear and really special, because that is kind of, not that it's my sought out like intention or goal when I get up on stage, but definitely like connecting with the audience in the music or in the story, like trying to let them in or let them keep the song like vague enough or broad enough that they could connect a piece of themselves within it. Like that is definitely an intention and kind of the most special part of music to me. Like I love the songwriting process, and it's always nice to get in the studio and record, but like being in front of an audience and being able to share that moment with them is like, that's the space, that's the spot.
Yeah.
And
and maybe I'm just getting excited, and I know it's near the end of like when we ask, but I want to know now, like, what do you have coming up? Where can people find you? What's going on? How, like, you're here with Music New Brunswick. How can people find out about you? What's going on?
It's one of those times where it's like I have so many plans and so many ideas and so many things are like in the works on the burners, I guess you could.
Because we're in like, well, end of the year, but in the middle of festival circuits and things like that. So it's busy, but it's
it's busy, but it's slow at the same time.
Yeah,
it's like a lot of the admin stuff.
Yeah,
but I guess some things that are being worked on. I've got a song that I've been having requested to be recorded for a really long time that we're working on. We submitted a grant for a music video for, so can keep your eye out for that in the distant future. And we're gearing up to also hopefully record a full album in spring.
Awesome.
Really exciting.
That's great.
And some touring coming along with that. So a lot of things hopefully
happening
in 2024.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're definitely no stranger to work, because you've been all over the place this year and putting things out and playing, and I think that's something that we really admire about a lot of the folks that we actually get the opportunity to interview, is that they don't mind rolling their sleeves up to like find different ways to produce their music, record it, do their own social media, find grants, work with those that can actually
creative,
and I really find New Brunswick, and I'm sure elsewhere, but from everybody we seem to talk to, everybody is so forthcoming about sharing resources and just helping one another. And I think it's really important not to duplicate efforts, especially when you're trying to get funding or trying to figure out what it is you need, because like we just talked to Michael J. Fox, and he was saying, unless you get 5,000 streams on something, you're not even monetized at that point, and that can be really difficult. So I think it's important to know how to carve off some of that time and make it more efficient and get results.
And everyone's so, at least my experience has been, so many people are open to collaboration and working together, and I think in any field, but especially like the creative music industry, that's so, like you said, sharing resources or whatever it is, it's so important.
Who are you listening to right now in New Brunswick? Is there any New Brunswick artists that you're just like, they are fire, people, strange crew, you have to listen to them, you're crazy if you don't?
I mean, I'm sure that they're not a stranger to anybody, but I've got a soft spot for Jessica Ray.
Yeah.
I get to share some bandmates with her. They're actually on the road right now, so
we ran into actually Clinton Charlton the other night at the documentary for Much Music, and he was excited. We're like, good luck, safe travels. He was leaving, I think, yesterday. Yeah, that's so exciting. So shout out to you guys if you're listening or you're looking for some road tunes and you happen to be listening to our voices. Well, hope you're having a great tour.
Exactly. Yes, they will be missed. I'm excited for them. And who else? Well, I recently played a show at Sanctuary for the Glow Festival in St. John, and met, she's here this weekend, Maude Saunier.
Oh my God.
We interviewed her last time. She's the coolest. She's
what a
cool girl.
Cool.
She's a cool
I can't believe
girl.
I never listened to her music.
So
She's
cool.
Amazing.
Her
entire
everything.
Just
so
cool.
We absolutely fell in love with her last year. And we interviewed her, and she was really good friends with the band Mess, who's here as well. They're playing the showcase. They're a kick-ass band. They're one of my favorite bands out of New Brunswick. Awesome. Like, they're so good. Like, think like costumes of like early Rush and like prog, like metal and like straight up rock and roll, and like they're able to do it in French and English, which is so cool to me.
Neat.
Like,
okay, that's cool.
So if you didn't ask us, but also listen to Mess
and
Maude. They're just, and they won like I think how they met was through their Battle of the Bands.
Or something like that. Up
it was like a showcase acadie or something like that. I think that's literally what it was called. But they're phenomenal. They're great people, and I do find that's one good thing that we've been finding. Coming up to this as well is, again, they're all so resourceful. Everybody just wants to share and be around each other, which is so nice.
Yes.
It's so nice.
So it is we finally have you on the show.
People want to know.
People want to know. Segment we call Strange Solitary Sounds. You are stranded somewhere remote.
This room, and it's locked forever.
It's locked forever. You're locked in this green room in the Aberdeen Cultural Center.
Okay.
And for some reason, there is a record player here.
Okay.
What are the 3 records you somehow miraculously have with you on your person
for the rest of your life?
And why?
I suddenly got really stressed.
It's a stressful question.
That's a very stressful question.
We replay this in a year and we're like, oh, so you said on a different interview that it was that. We
like
don't do that. Don't worry. We don't
change
show.
like weekly. So
okay, today, my answer today. I'm gonna change the question, even though it's not the question you asked me. But I'll still stick to the records. But maybe I'll pick the artist. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right now, it'll probably be something with Brittany Howard.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's phenomenal.
Yeah, Howard. Oh my goodness. Lake Street Dive.
Okay.
And people usually have a tough time with this question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Some people have put a lot of thought into it because they know.
Some people do like a
I didn't know
greatest
it's coming.
hits. Some people do like like best of rock, and it's a triple CD or
Yeah,
something.
like
They've tried to
box
hack the
sets.
situation.
Yeah,
They have.
and
So
we allow that.
and it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, Brittany, Lake Street Dive, and honestly, right now, probably like Donnie and June.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are great. Those are great.
It's It's just they're speaking to me. Like,
I'd hang out with you in this green room.
Yeah, man. We'd be here for a while. You know, there's washroom. We got some snacks. We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, there's even a water machine.
Yeah, like we're fine. I think there's some beers in that fridge for you, bud. There's some tea. We're fine.
Oh, right.
We're good. They got us set up.
We're gonna, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Catherine, seriously, for this time. I really, really appreciate it. I know, like I said, the listeners have been asking, and I know, like, whether it be through, like, Paul or, like, just folks like Jade, like, anybody, people have just been like, get Catherine on the show. We want to hear what she likes. We want to know what she's doing. We want to know where her musical influences come from. So, and we said this on our last 2 interviews, even with Michael J. Fox and with Dee, you're right in St. John, and somehow we're in Moncton doing these very interviews. So it's always about being in the right place at the right time. So, but you're always welcome to hang out with us anytime, please, because we like you very much. And until next time, keep it strange.